So, it's Spencer and Amanda again from Steam Vapor Company.
I'm Amanda!
Yeah, we talked about her saying her own name. Sorry. Steam Vapor Co. We're going to do a quick video about batteries. Once you move on to higher wattage devices like, say, a Sigelei 100 watt plus or a Sigelei 150 watt or any other high wattage box mod,
or one of these,
or a mechanical mod, you want to be sure that you're getting the right batteries. It's really important that you use batteries
that won't blow you up.
Exactly. So there are kind of three classes of batteries used for large batteries used for vaping. So these guys, usually you'll get access to the actual battery itself, and what you want to avoid are, one, no-name batteries. Definitely don't want to use no-name batteries. Brands to avoid for high wattage vaping would probably be Ultrafire, Trustfire, anything with fire in the name. Kind of makes sense, right?
Why not Trustfire?
Trustfire makes some decent chargers, but their batteries were more intended for high-power flashlights. So when you put them through the serious stresses of vaping, where you're pulling something sometimes, you know, both 40 amps, maybe all the way up to 85 amps, which is generally what this guy runs at, you definitely want to make sure to go with big name brand batteries usually. The best, most available ones right now will probably be the Samsung 25R. They're this light blue color. They are probably the safest, most powerful batteries, or 18650s on the market right now.
And they have a sticker.
Yeah, they don't always have that sticker on them.
Usually.
Different providers will have different stickers.
How do you know then that you're getting the right battery?
So under this sticker will be some data about the battery itself. So I'm going to peel this one off real quick. And this is a battery I've had for a while. And it's going to pull off all that nice printing when I pull off that sticker. But really what you're looking for is a genuine serial number. And this data right here says 25R. Samsung makes quite a few other batteries like the 20R, etc., etc. 25R is affordable, it's really powerful, and it's very, very safe. We put them through some serious stresses and they always come through just fine. If you're lucky enough to find them or are lucky enough to have a real one, the Sony VTC series is really nice. VTC 3s, VTC 4s are both still pretty readily available, and they're great batteries, but they're going to have probably slightly shorter life than the Samsung 25R. The Sony VTC 5 was and still kind of is the king of the 18650 world. Unfortunately, Sony pulled it from the market when they found out that end users like us were using them individually in devices like this. They're
Rude.
They're generally intended for power tools and laptop power packs, so they just didn't want end users using such an awesomely powerful battery for liability concerns, I assume.
Lame.
So there are other brands of batteries that are generally safe for use. eFest makes great high amperage batteries, although a lot of their stuff is generally rewraps from brands like LG. So when eFest came on the scene, yeah, she does. So these guys, the eFest...
And these are a little older.
Yeah, these are a little older. You probably won't find these on the shelves much anymore, but the eFest 2500 35 amp batteries, or 2500 milliamp hour 35 amp batteries, were great when they first came out.
I remember you loving these.
These were
when
pretty
you first
cool.
Got them.
This is before I kind of got into the Sony scene. But these guys, they're really reliable. They take a huge amount of amperage before anything bad happens to them.
Despite the flames on them,
right.
They were actually very good.
Yeah. However, these are not made by eFest. These are LG batteries, LG HE2s, and eFest put their own wrapper on them. eFest is known to do that. However, they still label it accurately. At least they still say, you know, the right amperage rating, the right battery life. They just don't make all of their own batteries, which is okay.
And they're better now that they're a little bit older. I wouldn't really use them in this.
Yeah, using old lithium-ion batteries isn't necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're damaged or they're more likely to fail. They're just not going to provide the battery life.
But I have been using them in my box mod.
Yeah.
But they don't last super long, but this thing has a little bit of regulation to it, so it's okay.
Yeah. So the three big companies I would trust with running something in a high wattage device would be Sony, Samsung, and LG. Sony's are still kind of the king as far as getting a great hit every time. I put Samsung right behind that. And then, I put Samsung right behind that, and then LG probably at the bottom. I'll probably get flamed for this, just because everyone has really strongly held battery opinions. Other, like, less big names that are probably still safe would be something by Imren, I-M-R-E-N. Those guys are okay. Also, companies like Mad Vapes have started selling PVTSO batteries. I'm getting my first shipment of those in here any day now, and I'm really excited to test them out, put them through their paces, and see what they do. But we'll have an update on that in the future.
Yeah, we'll let you know how they work. We usually, we always try stuff before we sell it to unsuspecting customers. Yeah. But check that on Facebook.
Yeah,
we'll have an update.
We'll have an update there. That's facebook.com/SteamVaporCo. You can find that
with
a U. You can find that in the description of the video, and we'll be right there. Batteries I definitely would not use in high wattage devices. I would not use anything with the ICR tag. So let's see. Can I have you running EFS batteries again real quick?
God damn it.
I'm sorry. So an ICR signifies a certain chemistry of a battery. And the ICR batteries will do something that...
it says IMR.
Yeah, the ICRs can basically do what's called thermal runaway, where if they short circuit, they'll just get hotter and hotter and hotter until they actually explode. IMR batteries, which I believe the M stands for manganese, I think. I'll have to check that one out. The IMR batteries are a lot safer.
LMR.
It's IMR.
It's LMR.
It's not LMR.
It's lithium manganese.
It's LMNN. LIMN is the actual abbreviation.
LIMN.
Yeah.
Lemon.
L.
It's not.
But
L. It's I. Don't listen to Jonathan, silly director of photography. IMR batteries are great. Basically, every IMR battery is going to work well. So I would not use ICR batteries. I would not use protected ICR batteries in anything high wattage.
I have one of those. Do you want me to get it?
Sure.
It doesn't work!
Protected batteries will actually have a circuit built into the battery that works as a fuse. And those protection circuits are basically just going to blow as soon as you try and pull any kind of serious amperage off of them. I would use a protected battery maybe in something like the older variable voltage tubes.
Hand!
So this is a horrible example of a battery. Never use something like this.
Some dumbass dude. Sorry if you're that person.
So you can kind of see here through the wrapper you've got a bulge here at the bottom. That's kind of your fuse. And then you also see this weird thing come up over the top that I assume helps the fuse work. But you kind of see that tab of silver that comes out over the positive contact. Protected batteries definitely have their place. They can be used in lower wattage devices pretty well. Flashlights or, like 10 to 15 watt tube variable voltage devices.
Maybe I should see if any of the PD wants it.
Maybe. But generally don't use them in high wattage devices. Instead, use a battery with safe chemistry like an IMR battery. Specifically from those three big companies I mentioned, Sony, Samsung, and
Sorry, cats.
Cats.
Oh, also, if your batteries start to wear out, not these.
This one's got some good wear on it.
Okay.
So if your wrapper starts to get tears in it, especially around the bottom or the top, although the side can cause some problems too, you can replace that wrapper with PVC shrink wrap.
And it'll probably end up looking like we've rewrapped a bunch of ours.
Right. So this gold color you're never going to find on a battery from the factory.
No. But you can see the writing that's directly on the battery.
Yeah.
In it.
In our brick and mortar store, you can actually come in and we will rewrap any damaged battery for free, just because we think it's really important to use safe batteries.
Mm-hmm. And this has kind of a nick in it.
Yeah.
So I might rewrap it.
This is one of those do as I say, not as I do kind of things.
But I'm also really careful with them, and I always carry them in a case.
Right. Also important. At our shop,
I'll get a case.
At our shop, we've got kind of a display of things that have been blown up or damaged by irresponsible battery owners. So one of our employees, Tiara, had a battery like this in her purse. And so this is a really big learning opportunity, so we say, where basically what happened is she had it in her purse, some kind of combination of coins and bobby pins, I think, or barrettes? Barrettes. Like completed a circuit
Say
between...
police.
Please. Anyway, completed a circuit between the positive and the negative terminals of the battery, and we've actually got some nickels with some great scorch marks in them sitting in our display case.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've also had only one, which I think is impressive, only one venting accident with the high power 18650s, and that only happened because we tore the wrapper off of two batteries at once and put them next to each other.
Yeah, we were in the process of rewrapping them.
Right, because we're safe people.
Well, yeah, and then they ended up in the same pocket.
Totally unwrapped, and that's just
totally
horrible.
Unwrapped. Terrible, terrible idea. So the same thing could theoretically happen if both your batteries were torn, the wrappers were torn, and they were in your pocket.
Yeah.
And they just went into, they just arced and went to run away.
Yeah.
And they ended up looking like little rockets.
Yeah, they're like those Chinese ground flowers that...
Yeah, we have a scorch mark, like battery shaped, in the floor, and it burned one of our employees. Really.
So learn from our stupidity, or just our general negligence, noobery stuff.
Well,
keep your battery wrappers intact.
Yeah, don't ever unwrap one, more than one at a time, and it's good to keep them in a battery case. This is mine.
Spencer and Amanda.
Yeah, keep them in a battery case because that's the safest way to carry them. Like if you're putting them in your purse or your pocket, keep them in a battery case, for God's sake.
And we also sell those at the shop and on our website. They're really cheap. We make them as cheap as we can, just so it's easy to be safe.
And I like the 4-channel ones because they're the most durable.
Yeah. We also sell the little silicone ones that stretch over a battery. Those are kind of cool. But yeah. General battery safety is really important. To kind of recap, be sure to use IMR chemistry batteries. You can definitely trust the Sony VTC series, which is the VTC3, VTC4, VTC5. You can definitely trust the Samsung 25R and also the 20R, and you can also definitely trust the LG HE2 or HE4. All 7 of those batteries are great batteries and will handle just about anything you throw at them. Secondly, make sure your battery wrappers are in good shape. Make sure that there aren't any trips or tears in the battery wrapper, and rewrap them as quick as you can if you notice any significant tears. I believe the place where we get our wraps, and I really don't mind giving this out because I want everyone to be as safe as possible, is I believe a company called Illumin.com. That's ILLUMN.com. We'll put a link to them in our description too. They sell a little PVC shrink wrap. It's $1 for 10. You can just use a hair dryer or even a heat gun if you want to get a little more serious about it.
But be careful when you're doing that not to overheat it.
Don't overheat it.
Keep moving them.
Yeah, and just be really careful while your battery's unwrapped. Really, really careful. Don't put it next to anything metal. Just be really safe. Lastly, use a case. Cases are important. They're cheap, and they will protect you from a lot of really easily avoidable problems that will make you feel really stupid if something bad happens.
Anything about safety while you're using them in the mod?
that might be for another video, but I will do something real quick. There are a couple mods, like mine right here. This one's a really old mod. I polish it every now and then, so this is going to look pretty gross. But you'll notice how on this switch, this metal surface contacts directly with the bottom of the battery. There's no insulator to keep the entire switch from not touching the bottom of the battery. Actually, this magnet will hold that battery pretty well.
Lies.
Anyway, with a mod like this, with no insulator on the bottom, you really want to be very careful about making sure your wrapper is intact on the bottom. Other general things, as far as mod safety, it's really another story to get into with a different video. But if you use the right batteries, you're generally going to be safe unless your wrapper is torn or there's something really wonky with your pins, on both positive and negative. So, yeah, thanks for listening to us on this one. This is probably the most important video because these are probably the most dangerous things that you'll ever deal with while vaping.
And they're the most hyped things probably about e-cigarettes.
Right.
So, or mods or vaping or anything. Second most, vaping is probably the most hyped thing. But stories about people's batteries blowing up and this and that. But if you've ever heard of laptop batteries blowing up, it's
Cell phone batteries blowing up.
they're the same thing.
Yep, it's the same device. You use this. You have the same risks, and in fact, because they're outside the device most of the time, or whenever most of the time you're not using them, they do get to be a little bit more dangerous. So, just exercise great battery safety. Feel free if you want to ask us any questions in the comments. You can do that, and
Facebook.
or Facebook.
Or
Facebook
Facebook.
works as well.
Facebook's probably the
Come
best.
visit us.
Come like us on Facebook.
You could come to our brick and mortar store.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks again.
And if you need more batteries, click Steam.
Yes, we sell.
We sell all of, well, not all of them, but we sell batteries that will work and will be solid.
The Steam.
Click the Steam.
Click Steam.
Click
Right
the
here.
Steam.
It's like right in this area.
Move your head.
Oh.
There. Click Steam.
Okay.
Ta-da. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.